Hello and welcome. So today I want to share with you 9 new 2025 perfumes that I don't hear many people talk about. I mean, most of them I haven't heard anybody talk about, and I really think that they deserve your attention. So we've had so many fragrances launched during 2025, and a lot of them are like from very known fragrance brands, right? Or fragrance houses, the ones that we hear about all the time. But today I wanted to bring you 9 fragrances that have really, really impressed me, and I have been waiting to hear someone else talk about them because I wonder if it's just me. Now, some of these fragrances are not crazy expensive. Some of them, actually, none of them are crazy expensive, maybe one. But all the others, while they're not necessarily affordable, they're also not crazy expensive, if you know what I mean. But these are definitely fragrances that I highly recommend and that I really suggest that you at least try, because we need to start knowing more about other fragrances that could really touch our heart besides all the ones that are typically hyped. But let's go ahead and get started because we have quite a bit to cover. But before we do so, if this is your first time here, I'm Arahi and I'm your fragrance concierge because I'm totally committed to creating the best fragrance experience for you. I upload videos multiple times a week, and on this channel, we love to talk about all types of fragrances. So if that sounds like the type of content that you're interested in and like a good plan, then please consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget, leave a comment. Let's go. All right, so the first fragrance that I want to share with you today is from a brand that is out of Bangkok. I discovered this brand recently because a fan member reached out to me and talked to me about them. And, then I saw, I think, one other content creator talk about one of their fragrances, and I can't even remember who it was, but I have not heard just about anybody talk about this fragrance except for that one content creator and of course the fan member that I just mentioned to you. Now this is from the brand or the fragrance house MITH, and this one is Autumn Leaves. Now Autumn Leaves was just launched now in 2025, but in case you're not aware, MITH is a fragrance house out of Bangkok. And although I thought that they were very new because I had not heard about them, they've actually been in place since 2015. And they have been working with incredible perfumers, two of which you may may be very familiar with, which are Anne Filippo and Quentin Bish. Now this fragrance, Quentin Bish is the nose behind it. And when I tell you this fragrance is, let me just start by saying, absolutely exceptional. And what I am loving about this brand is that the fragrances are not crazy expensive. These fragrances, I think I paid like $90 for this one. And this is, I'm pretty sure this is a 50 ml. I mean, think about it. Now, now in this day and age, paying $90 for a 50 ml Quentin Bish creation. I mean, only an affordable Middle Eastern fragrance could beat that. But I have to tell you, the level of refinement and quality of this fragrance is absolutely stellar. This is absolutely exceptional. When I first tried, and this was not the first one that I tried from this fragrance house, and not necessarily my favorite. This is incredible, but I have another one which is my top favorite, and it was an Anne Filippo creation. Oh, they also have like Natalie Lorson. They have a ton of master perfumers that have been developing these fragrances. And I was like, wow, we were not even aware. So I want to bring this brand to your attention today, but I'm going to use Autumn Leaves to let you know how great they are. Now, Autumn Leaves, as I said before, was definitely launched during 2025. And while the name is Autumn Leaves, it is a fragrance that I have used a couple of times now during the summer season, and I absolutely love it. But this is truly, in my opinion, best suited for the seasons of fall and winter. So you have enough time to put your coin together, place an order, and receive it. And of course, I will leave a link to where you can pick up all of these fragrances, in the description box below. And I will also leave my discount code if I have one for where you can pick up the fragrance. So Autumn Leaves is a fragrance that opens up very citrusy. with a very true and present, not necessarily dominant, but very, very present orange note. It has not been disclosed, but I also pick up on a little bit of mandarin because my nose can clearly distinguish between the note of orange and mandarin. In this fragrance, I am picking a little bit of that mandarin, but the orange is center stage. As the journey continues, the fragrance does become a bit warm, spicy, and the one note that I do pick up on is cinnamon. But I just know that there's other spices. I just don't know what they are because they haven't necessarily been disclosed. You are going to start to get like a caramelly effect to the fragrance. And I don't know if it's coming directly from the note of caramel or is it the tonka doing its tonka thing with that caramelly effect that it gives the fragrance. But I definitely pick up on that note of caramel, and it is not like a very dense, it's a creamy, fresh caramel. Like if you had caramel in a pot at home and it just started to become creamy in the process, that is the scent that you are going to get. And combined with that orange, it is absolutely glorious. The fragrance is definitely musk based, but the musk in this fragrance, I would say, is like a level 2 to 3, and it is not animalic in any kind of way. It is a very smooth, very, very wearable fragrance. This is a fragrance that you could definitely make your signature scent during the fall, winter, and spring seasons for sure. Summer, I would pick the days in which you wear it, not because it would be stifling in any way, because there's an inherent freshness coming from those citrusy notes in this fragrance that does not allow it to be stifling in any kind of way, even though you do have a very present caramel note. But this is a fragrance that evokes that yumminess of like the fall season. I think this fragrance is perfection to transition you from the summer into the fall season. I think it's appropriate for any age. You can use it for any occasion, day or night. I tell you, I am so glad that I not just found Autumn Leaves, but that I also found this fragrance house, because I am going to try and pick up as many of their fragrances as I can, because I tell you, it is absolutely worth it. The next fragrance that I want to share with you is from a fragrance house that is also new now in 2025 in my collection, and it is from Parfumeur. And I've already discussed with you Myrrh Shadow, but today I want to talk to you about their latest, which is 204 Figue Edamame Essence de Ambrette. This fragrance. So during one of the Saturday morning chatty scent corners, I did discuss this fragrance with you, like my first impression. And I told you that all I was going to say at the time is that this is absolutely glorious and a very deep love for me. This fragrance, if you are a fig lover, this is a must. You must at least try this fragrance, because I am telling you, you are going to fall immediately in love with it. The thing about this fragrance is that it does open very fruity, but it also opens with a very present note of iris, and I wonder if there's some violet here too. But definitely you are going to get that iris, and in the opening, the fragrance automatically has a tad of powderiness to it. But in the opening, the star is the fig, because that fruitiness that you're going to pick up comes primarily from the note of fig. But in the backdrop, you are going to get a very present floral aspect to the fragrance coming from the iris. As the journey continues, the fragrance does become a bit like fresh, spicy, because there is also like an inherent freshness to this fragrance, which I am loving because, you know, at the dry down, it is quite powdery, but the powderiness is like kind of fresh, if that even makes sense to you. But that is definitely what I get. There's also like at the dry down, well, ongoing throughout the journey, let me start there. There's like a woodiness in the backdrop, but at the dry down, there is a creaminess to the fragrance. I can't even explain it. It's like the fig will still be present, but it's like a creamy fig with a backdrop of like some woody notes and now some faint florals, because at the dry down, what you are going to get is a creamy fig. The fragrance is sweet, but it's not crazy sweet. And there is just such a beautiful, beautiful, refined and sophisticated scent to this fragrance. I just can't even explain it, because I did not expect a fig fragrance to really have this very smooth, it's like a very smooth, very sleek, very streamlined kind of scent. To me, this is a fragrance that, while being perfection for now, the summer season, you can definitely wear this fragrance throughout the entire year for any season, for any occasion. This is perfect if you wanted to have like a fig-centric signature scent. This is perfection. This is completely non-offensive. I pick up no musk. I really don't pick up on any oud. It is just absolute perfection. And I think that it is suitable for just absolutely any age. I tell you, this is such a beautiful and versatile fragrance. I am so impressed. While I do love Myrrh Shadow and Iris Cartagena from Bon Parfumeur, I have to tell you that I think this is now my favorite because, again, it is a very easy pull. When in doubt, you could pull this fragrance and know you're going to be smelling fabulous, you know, without having to spend too much time trying to figure out what you want to wear. Anyway, number 204 from Bon Parfumeur. This next fragrance is a fragrance that I had not heard of this fragrance house. I received it. So one day I was just in my studio minding my business, working, and I heard the doorbell. And I went to the door and there was a box, and in the box came this fragrance. So it was sent to me and I don't even know where it came from. You know, I don't know where it came from. All I know is that I am absolutely in love with this fragrance and I cannot recommend it enough. This one is from Paradis de Sens, and I hope that I'm pronouncing it correctly. And this is Divina. Now, Divina is like divine in English, and this fragrance, very well named because it is divine in my opinion. This is a fragrance that opens up very citrusy with a very strong vanilla presence. And for a minute, I have to tell you that I thought, well, maybe this is a vanilla-centric fragrance, but it is not, because there's other things, other accords and notes that are going to play a key role. But that vanilla is a ton of vanilla. It is a sweet but not crazy sweet vanilla. And there's like an inherent creaminess to this fragrance that I can't even explain. To me, this is definitely a gourmandish fragrance because it does immediately give me that yummy effect, and it does make me smell yummy without making me smell necessarily like food. But it does open with that very present vanilla note with some citrusy qualities to it. I clearly pick up on a tad of a zesty quality to the fragrance too. It's like the note of orange does that for the scent. As the journey continues, the florals come in and I clearly pick up on the orange blossom and a tad of the violet. But to me, the orange blossom, when it comes to the florals, the orange blossom takes the lead in this fragrance for sure. And combined with the vanilla, it is just an absolutely exquisite effect. As the journey continues and you approach the dry down, you are going to find that the fragrance becomes a bit sweeter and it picks up on like a caramelly, I don't know how to explain it, like a caramelly kind of quality to it. And I think it's coming from like the note of tonka bean. But at the dry down, you are primarily going to get like a creamy, very vanillic centric kind of scent that has touches of citrusy notes to it, in addition to like a backdrop of some florals. This fragrance is beautiful. Had you heard about Divina? Because this is truly divine. For me, this is a fragrance that, again, you could make your signature scent. I tell you, the fragrances that I'm sharing with you today, I just can't believe that they haven't been, you know, hyped more or gone viral, because they are truly all exceptional. And this one is no exception. I highly recommend this fragrance. This is perfect for any age, for any occasion, for any season. You can dress it down. You can dress it up. It is non-offensive. It doesn't have oud. You could wear it to the office. It is absolute perfection. Let us know if you've tried Divina and your thoughts. So the next fragrance that I want to share with you, this fragrance, this is not the first time that I talk about it here on the channel. I've already provided a detailed review of this fragrance and discussed it with you, but I wanted to bring it to your attention again because I am just amazed at how little attention this fragrance has received. And to me, it is absolute perfection. This one is from Jacques, Zolty, Saint Barth, and this is Perfume. Now, Perfume is a fragrance that I think is suitable for any season of the year. This is a fragrance that you cannot go wrong with. It incorporates so many notes and so many accords. If you ask me, Arahi, is it a floral fragrance? I'd be like, yes, it is. It has some jasmine. I think it has some iris. If you ask me, Arahi, is it fruity? Yes, it is fruity. It definitely has some orange, some bergamot, some coconut. If you ask me, is it spicy? I would say, yeah, to me, it is very much fresh spicy with a very present ginger note. Is it woody? Absolutely, you are going to find some woody notes that are always in the background. So all in all, this is a fragrance that incorporates everything, but at that, the blend has been done exquisitely. There is no screechiness or any note or accord out of tune at any point in the olfactory journey, at the dry down, or in the wear of the fragrance. This to me is absolute perfection, a very versatile fragrance. You can dress it up, you can dress it down, you can take it on holiday. It is just absolute perfection. While the fragrance does have musk, the musk here I would say is to the tune of like a level 2 to 3. The more I've had the opportunity to sniff this fragrance, the smoother I find the musk to be, and it is not animalic in any kind of way. I tell you, I am so impressed with this fragrance. Please let us know if you've tried it and your thoughts. The next fragrance that I want to share with you is from Oman Luxury, and this is a brand new release now in 2025. And this is a fragrance that I tell you, let's just talk about it in detail. So this is Caden. Now, Caden is a fragrance that gives me a very strong vibe and feel of like, you know, that friend that you visit when when life is lifing and you really need to have a good conversation with someone that you can trust, that will understand you, that will not be judgmental, that will bring comfort and ease to you and to your soul. Well, this is the feel that I get from Caden. This is a very comforting fragrance while not losing its elegance and beauty and appeal. It is definitely a very different kind of DNA for me. And I think that coming from the house of Oman Luxury, I'm no longer surprised because their fragrances tend to bring something to the table that others just don't. But let's talk more in detail about Caden. So Caden is a fragrance that opens up very spicy. To my nose, I clearly get the note of saffron first and then the cardamom. At that, there is a tad of booziness to the fragrance that I can't even explain. So this is my understanding that it's supposed to be more of like a coffee-centric fragrance, but while the coffee plays a key role, and the coffee to my nose and on paper seems to be in the backdrop at all times, the coffee is a very smooth, it's almost like if you made a cup of like coffee, like an Americano, right? Like you made like a good cup of coffee and then you added like some hot water. So am I saying that the coffee is like watered down? No, I'm just saying that it's a very smooth coffee that while being present is not overpowering in any kind of way. The fragrance also has a good bit of vanilla, not a lot, but it definitely has a good bit of vanilla. There's a woodiness to the fragrance. I'm pretty sure there's oud in this fragrance. This is like a level 1 to 2 oud because unless you are an oud connoisseur and you have trained your nose to pick up on oud, you're not going to pick up the oud in this fragrance because this is so smooth. I tell you, this blend has been done exquisitely. There is a smoothness here, and I'm sure that there's so many other notes and accords that I am not able to clearly identify because again, this is a very smooth fragrance, but at that, while being smooth, it borders on powerhouse on my skin because it does give me a full day wear without having to overspray or respray. It gives me to the tune of 8 to 9 hours, and it does have a very strong projection during, I would say, the first 90 minutes. And it has a very present sillage. This is definitely one that will leave a trail behind you to the tune of maybe to 3 to 4 feet, if not more. This is definitely a very interesting fragrance. I have been so curious to continue to wear it, and I'm looking forward to wearing it more so that I can understand more and more about this fragrance because I tell you, it is very unique. At that, I think that anybody can pull off this fragrance again for, I would say, any season, but be careful on a summer day, because this to me is not necessarily like a summer fragrance. This to me is like a cool weather, you know, like reasonable weather, not 90 plus Fahrenheit degree weather. That's not the fragrance that I would pull for. But this is definitely a new 2025 release that you want to get your nose on. I think you are going to be highly impressed, because this fragrance, again, gives you a lot of ease in its wear. It's a very comforting, very soothing kind of fragrance while still retaining its beauty and personality. So the next fragrance that I want to discuss with you is coming from a fragrance house that is pretty new to my collection. I've already had the opportunity to discuss, I think, one other fragrance from this fragrance house, but today I want to talk to you about their most recent 2025 launch. And this is a fragrance that I really haven't heard anybody talk about. Maybe others have talked about it, but I really haven't seen much activity around it. So I wanted to bring it to your attention because this is really, really special. And I am speaking about OJAR, and this is Ever Lit. Now, this is a fragrance that is absolutely glorious. This is an incredible woody aromatic fragrance. That's what this fragrance is about. I don't think that this fragrance is sweet. This is very, very aromatic, very woody, and it does have like a fresh, spicy quality to it. There's a touch of a citrusy quality to the fragrance, but I can't even distinguish what are those citrusy notes per se. But there is an inherent freshness that comes from like the spicy and citrusy notes for sure. The fragrance also has like a marine / ozonic quality to it. And I find that very interesting because here you are going to find oud. And the oud here, I would say, is like a level, I would say maybe like a level 2 to 3 oud, but not like a demure oud. No, it is a present oud. It's just that it's not a barnyardish kind of oud. No, it's a very smooth oud, but definitely present to the tune of 2 to 3. This is a fragrance that I think is perfect for any season of the year. To me, this borders on a masterpiece because I am typically not much into woody aromatic fragrances, but this is absolutely exceptional. This is also a fragrance that while you can use it for any occasion, all seasons of the year, this to me is truly unisex. This does not lean to the feminine or to the masculine side. This is truly a unisex fragrance. This is a fragrance that I can see you wearing for just about any occasion. And it is a fragrance that does perform very, very well. It does border on beast on my skin, and it does have a strong projection that exceeds the 2-hour mark. And it has a very moderate sillage. But I tell you, all in all, this is a fragrance that you definitely want to try. The next fragrance that I want to share with you is coming from the house of Xerjoff, and you guys know of my love of Xerjoff. And earlier this year, they had a collaboration with Duran, which is a group that during one of the Saturday morning Chatty Scent Corner videos, I shared with you that, I was a tremendous fan of Duran. And, they just launched this collaboration, and I did pick up one of the 2 fragrances that they launched. They launched 2. One was Neo Rio, which comes in 4 different colored bottles. I picked up the green one, which you can see right up there. That's Neo Rio from Xerjoff Duran. And they also launched a second one, which is called Black Moonlight. Now, at the time when I did the review of that fragrance for you, I told you that I had decided not to pick up Black Moonlight because I really felt that it would lean heavy to the masculine side. Well, so kindly, I did receive this fragrance in PR, and this is Black Moonlight, Duran Black Moonlight. And I have to tell you, this does not lean to the masculine side whatsoever. This is truly a unisex fragrance, and at that, I am actually loving it even more than Neo Rio, which is a deep love. But this one, the name of it is perfection, because Black Moonlight is really what it evokes. It is a very sexy without being too loud or screechy. It's like a very sexy, smooth, more like sensuality expressed via this bottle. This is a fragrance that opens up with citrusy notes, accompanied by a good bit of spiciness. Within the spiciness is like a fresh spicy in the opening, but it later becomes like warm spicy. But in the opening, with those citrusy notes, I definitely get the cardamom. The saffron is present, but it is like in the backdrop in the opening, because the opening to me is more about the cardamom. So that initial fresh, spicy burst to my nose is definitely coming from the cardamom. As the journey continues, the fragrance becomes even more fresh because the florals are introduced, and the one that I pick up on the most is the lavender. The beauty of this fragrance is that it is an exquisite blend of yellow, white, and purple florals. And within the florals in general, the one that I pick up the most is definitely the lavender. Within the white florals and the yellow florals, I do pick up here and there on different ones, but all in all, the main character here to me when it comes to the florals is the lavender. To my nose, there's a tad of a smoky quality to the fragrance coming like from myrrh or frankincense. And I know that those notes may have not been disclosed, but that is what I get. I tell you, there is a smooth darkness. I don't know how to call it any other way, but there's like a smooth, dark sensuality to this fragrance that I am absolutely loving. This is a very, very different delivery from Xerjoff, at least in my experience as a collector. To me, this is a fragrance that is not suited for every season. I wanted to share it with you today because I am going through these 2025 fragrances that have not received the attention that I believe that they deserve. But to me, this is a fragrance that is best suited for the seasons of fall, winter, and spring. This is definitely not a summer fragrance for me at all whatsoever. Now, this is also a fragrance that I think is best suited for the ages of 25 plus and truly unisex. To me, this does not lean in any direction. I don't pick up on any oud. I don't pick up on the musk at all. I don't get any musk. So this is quite, a non-offensive kind of fragrance. But at that, am I saying that this is a fragrance that I think that you could use during the day and during the night? No. To me, this is more like a late afternoon, very late afternoon into the evening and into late night kind of fragrance, regardless of the season that you decide to wear it in. I just think that if you were to use this during the day, it would be a little bit anticlimactic. Like you may feel a little bit out of place because there is a vibe and a feel that comes with this fragrance that speaks to evening and late night. The next fragrance that I have for you today is from a fragrance house that you guys know is pretty new to me, but I've already had the opportunity of sharing with you two other of their fragrances that I consider to be masterpieces. I mean, they are truly exceptional. And this is their 2025 launch. And I have to tell you, this is just amazing. And what I am loving is that the price point of these fragrances is so reasonable when you are getting true niche luxury. I mean, true niche luxury, not just in the composition, the notes, the accords, the wear, everything, the feel of the fragrance. They are just exceptional. And this one is from day 3, and this is their latest, which is Tres Oros. Now, Tres Oros is like 3 golds, but I would say like 3 treasures maybe in English. This fragrance is just absolutely incredible. So for some, this fragrance may absolutely border into the gourmand lane, right? Because let me explain. So in Dominican Republic, there is a dish that is made where you take like sweet plantains and you put them like in a pot with some brown sugar and some cinnamon, and you just allow them to cook and they get really brown. It's not green plantain. It's when you allow the plantain to sit and ripen, then you make this dish. And the scent that I get from this fragrance is reminiscent of that dish for sure. That is what I'm getting. So this fragrance does open up very fruity. Clearly, you are going to get the pineapple and the mandarin. And I am getting other fruits, but I will just leave it with what they've decided to disclose. But it is a fragrance that opens up fruity. It is definitely sweet. And as the journey continues, you're going to pick up on that sweet plantain note. If you've ever sniffed sweet plantain as it is cooking, that is the scent that you're going to get. And in addition to that, then the fragrance becomes a bit warm, spicy, and the spice that sticks out and like comes out with the sweet plantain is cinnamon. at that moment is when you, if you're familiar with that dish, you're going to be like, wow. It's going to bring you back to memory lane because that's what you're going to get. Now, the other thing that has me extremely impressed about this fragrance is that I told you, when that dish is made, you add brown sugar. But they've also, not only do they have the note of brown sugar here, but they also have the note of honey. And if you've been with me for a while, you know that honey is not an easy note for me, and a note that I find that most fragrance houses have a hard time getting right. But here it has been done beautifully, because while you're not going to pick up, at least not to my nose or on paper, while you are going to pick up on the honey, and the honey is not, the star of this fragrance at all, it blends very beautifully with that sweet plantain scent, with the cinnamon and the brown sugar. At that moment, at the dry down, you can clearly pick up that that dish has been like sprinkled at the top with honey. That is what I get. So at the dry down, you are going to get that sweet plantain note with that honey that has like given it a big hug, with some brown sugar to sweeten it so the fragrance is sweet. And then you are going to get that precious note of honey, all on a backdrop of like some citrusy notes and some spiciness. It is absolute perfection. This is truly such a different gourmand, very, very different. This to me is appropriate for any season of the year, but most specifically for the fall, for the spring, and for the winter. I think that you can definitely wear this fragrance during the summer, but not on an extreme hot summer day. It is suitable for any age. It is non-offensive. There's no musk here. There is no oud. It is just absolute perfection. And I really think that this is a fragrance that is unisex and does lean a tad to the feminine side. The next and last fragrance that I have for you is coming out of a fragrance house that is very new to my collection. I've just started to do a deep dive on this fragrance house during 2025, and I have already picked up several of their fragrances and discussed a couple of them with you. But today I want to talk to you about their 2025 release, because this is absolutely exceptional. This was a fragrance that as soon as I sniffed it, I had to pick it up. It was a must. And I want to talk to you about Blindfold from L'Objet. Now, this is a fragrance that I would say is like a woody, gourmandish kind of fragrance, truly. This is a fragrance that does open very, very beautifully with a like warm, spicy kind of feel to it. But in that warm spiciness, there's also the note of tobacco. The tobacco is very, very smooth. It will be smooth throughout the entire olfactory journey, at the dry down, and throughout the wear of the fragrance. Always in the backdrop, at times faint, at other times more present, but always very, very smooth and demure. The one floral that you will pick up in this fragrance is the gardenia. And another thing that I wanted to let you know before I forget is that there is an inherent lactonic quality to the fragrance. It does have the note of milk, but there is a lactonic quality to the fragrance that, would I call this a full-on lactonic fragrance? No, but it is lactonic to a certain extent, truly. And it is a quality that will also be present throughout the entire wear of the fragrance. The other thing that it's very important for you to know is that this is a musk-based fragrance, and the musk here is very present to the tune of like a level 3 or 4, more of a 4, and it is a tad animalic. But that animalic quality of that musk makes this an even more enjoyable and addictive kind of fragrance, because this is a very addictive fragrance. Now, for oomph and character, this is also an ambery fragrance. You are going to find some woodiness to it, and there is an inherent creaminess all throughout the wear of this fragrance that is coming, in my opinion, from the combination of like the note of patchouli with the tonka and that lactonic quality of the fragrance. I tell you, this is such a different kind of composition. I don't have anything like it in my collection, and at first sniff, I just knew I had to have it because this is truly exceptional. This is a fragrance that I think you can wear through any season of the year for any occasion, day or night. Would I make this my signature scent? Personally, I would not. I would prefer to have this for, when I want to feel a bit more special, because if it's a signature scent, then I just pull it for anything and everything. I'm not saying that this is specific for like a special occasion or special event or formal or anything like that. No, I'm just saying that would I want to wear it every day to then make it like my common scent? No, I want to pull this when I want to feel rather special. I also don't think that this is the type of fragrance that I would wear to like the gym or Pilates or to go ride my bike or go for a good jog or anything like that. This is not that type of fragrance, because this is one that has so much personality and character to it. It is a fragrance that performs beautifully because it does give me a full day wear with a good projection during the first 90 minutes and a strong sillage, which is one of the things that really pulls me to it. It is definitely one that others will sniff on you. All in all, this is a fragrance that I highly recommend. I haven't heard anybody talk about this fragrance, and it is one that I truly recommend that you at least get your nose on, because I have a feeling that you are going to fall madly in love. This is a fragrance, again, that to me is kind of gourmandish, but it doesn't smell like food in any kind of way. It doesn't even give me much of yumminess. It is just a very solid blend with a beautiful, beautiful result. So we have reached the end of this video, and I hope that this was enjoyable. I just wanted to share with you these 9 fragrances because they're all 2025 releases, and they have not received the attention that I really believe that they deserve. And I have to tell you, I am so happy that I've added all of them to my collection. And the ones that were sent to me, I don't bring you everything that was sent to me, but these were really exceptional, and they truly surprised me at first try, and then as I continue to use them, they just became a love. Anyway, let us know if you tried any of these fragrances and your experience and thoughts. As always, thank you so much for hanging with me today, and I will see you all in the next video.